I think that it gets very blown out of proportion what the average sizing is. I think a lot of people start rumors and they become like, oh, this is a statistic now. But I don't think that, I think bigger is worse in my opinion.
Okay, yeah.
But just above average is kind of what you'd want and expect. And it's definitely not something that a man should feel self-conscious about because, again, it's the same with women. We have our own insecurities. And I think that it's probably a bit unfair the way that women have promoted it to be like a negative thing if you're not on a bigger size. But I personally don't believe that should be the case at all. I think everyone is completely different and they're all built different. And I think that's the beauty of human nature, you know? So, yeah, I would definitely say, yeah.
What do women want the most from a man?
Probably security, I think. Security is one of the biggest things that I personally believe that men should give to women. Comfortable spaces. And I think just being a gentle approach to people, having a gentle approach. I think security overall would be...
It's the most important thing for you. You think it's for every woman like this? Or?
I think some women like to stand on their own, and I think that they're probably, strong enough to do that. But personally, from my own experiences, I prefer having my partner be more secure for me. So, yeah, that's definitely...
Is it important for you that your boyfriend is a good fighter?
Is a good fighter.
Yeah, that he can protect you like in the streets.
I definitely say so in, again, my personal experience because it differs for other people. But I like, again, leaning into the security thing, knowing that he can put up a fight for me. I can myself, but it's nice when I know somebody else is there to do it for me. So it just makes me feel more secure and more safe. So yeah.
It's good when he knows how to punch a straight punch.
Yes, definitely.
What's your biggest turn off when it comes to...
My biggest turn on? A turn off? God, that's a good question. My biggest turn off.
You can name several.
Maybe not being confident in yourself to be who you are because I like, again, with my partner, having that funny kind of weird childish side to him. So I think that maybe trying to be more macho and trying to show yourself off as being this big, strong guy and that there's no emotional side. That's probably my biggest turn off, I think. Yeah.
So you want him to be a little bit dominant, but not too much?
Yeah, I want him to still have like more of his emotional side because that's what is attractive to me as a woman is seeing emotions in men. But I think that it's also important to still, maintain that you still have a strength in your character. Yeah. So, yeah, a bit of a balance. But, yeah, definitely.
Looks or money, what's more important?
Looks or money?
Looks or money.
That's a really good question. Probably money to me, but not based off of the fact that I'm chasing after money, but more that the looks don't matter to me. It's more about the personalities. So between the two choices, I'd have to say money, but for a completely different reason. So, yeah.
So if you would like to say, okay, looks-wise, he needs to be like 7 out of 10 and money-wise 8 out of 10, or if you can give it to me in this kind of balance?
In that kind of balance, then looks-wise, I'd say just an average 5 out of 10, obviously. Okay. And then money-wise, I think probably maybe leaning more for me towards like a 7 out of 10 because in a relationship, especially in my personal experience, we're in a long-distance relationship. So we need a lot of money to maintain that. And, having a partner that's not very well off is not really, it's not really easy to manage plane tickets and all that kind of thing. So money would be more important to me. But
of course, it plays together with the security aspect of it.
Yes, and with the security kind of thing, it makes me feel more secure knowing that he has some money and I've got my own money. And then putting that together it makes everything a lot easier.
Makes total
yes.
sense. What's your worst dating experience?
Oh, my God. My worst dating experience, I've had quite a few,
probably
but
from back then.
Probably there was this one girl that I did see for a little while and it was just really awkward. I thought that something may have happened, but there was no talking. It was complete silence. She didn't laugh at any of the jokes that I made and it ended up being me sitting in a couch for like 6-7 hours alone, and it was really bad. And I already agreed to stay the night, so I don't have.
You would never do that again, right?
I didn't have the confidence to say, "Hey, I'm gonna go now" because I'm too polite. So I just sort of kept trying, and it was just awful, and I wanted to go home. so badly.
So for the girls listening to you, never commit too early.
Yes, I'd say don't jump in with both feet straight away. Maybe consider it a little first. But yeah.
How beautiful do you think yourself are from a scale from 1 to 10?
If we were talking on the outside, on my looks, I would probably say maybe an 8 out of 10 because I don't think anyone is perfect. But I'm very confident now, whereas before I was really self-conscious of my looks, but now I try to just embrace it. But for my personality-wise, I'd say that's probably way more beautiful because I'm a really complex person. So I'd probably say maybe 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10 because, like I say, nobody is perfect. I would never give myself a 10.
I think that's a very good answer. And when it comes to a man, would you prefer a man who's a 10 from 10 out of looks and he gets a lot of attention? Or would you prefer a man who's just maybe a 5 out of 10 and doesn't get so much? Are you afraid that maybe other women chase him too much?
I think because I'm really secure and I think I'm not so worried anymore about my partner or anything. I'm going to say a 5 out of 10 on men's looks because, as I said previously, it doesn't really matter to me how you look. And it's not that I'm insecure about other women if it was that someone was very good looking. For example, I think my partner is really good looking. But I don't know, I just have more security, I think, than some females do. And that's something that we have to work on, as a group of people. Is feeling a bit more secure in people. So no matter what they look like, they could be the nicest person. Even if they're really good looking, they might also be really self-conscious. There's so many layers to people. So, but personally for me, I would say a 5 out of 10 is just fine on men.
But you're not so afraid if he's a 10 out of 10. You
exactly.
could live with that as well.
Yeah, I could live with both.
Your man is very good for you, so.
Definitely.
All right. A lot of men have problems with sometimes premature ejaculation. You think how long should a man at least last in bed? It's a very difficult question. A lot of men have problems with that. So or maybe you can give some advice or...
I think personally, from my experience again, I would say it's actually easier to have it not last as long because sometimes it can get very boring after a while. And I personally deal with ADHD, so I'm constantly thinking about everything else and it's more like a task to me. So it's easier for me if it was a little, less long.
What do you think is a good time, including foreplay?
A good time, I'd personally say because the average is maybe 5 minutes to 10 minutes. Yeah. I think maybe that sort of area time.
Maybe achievable for a lot of guys, but some struggle when a woman says, I want half an hour. Some women say that. It's difficult for some men.
I also think it's a great idea as well because the whole point of it not lasting as long means it's clearly something they're enjoying. So, that's always a really important thing to make sure that the two people are really enjoying themselves. And that I don't see how time could be an issue, I think
that gives a lot of men hope. So are there any tips you can give men, how to act with a woman, especially in the bedroom? Should he be dominant? Should he be less dominant and ask a little bit more? What do you think is a man should act regarding this?
It's a really hard question because I think people deal with different experiences. So some people might have really bad traumas from the past. So I would probably say go in with the mindset of being open-minded and willing to try different things dependent on the partner or the person that you're sleeping with. But it's all about comfortability. You want to make sure you set boundaries in place before you jump right into things. And I think that would be the best advice is to go in open-minded and set your boundaries, talk about things. Communication is really the most important thing about anything related to sexual activities. I would say go in open-minded and just be comfortable.
Do you still think it's good when a man is capable to lead at least a little bit? So go front and then you can always say later, I don't want that.
Yeah. I would say for me, it's a balance. I like to also have the control because of my personal experiences, but I do like when a man is a little more leading forth with it and they try to sort of do it romantically and almost not a sense of just grabbing you and, doing that. But yeah, it's more of a just lead into the situation, be a bit more flirtatious and try and give signs and hints that that's what you're trying to do. So, yeah.
A lot of women now today, they do OnlyFans. You think that's a good thing to do for women or you think it's better not to do?
I think personally, out of my experiences, I believe that everyone should be able to do what they want. However, I don't think in society that it is a good idea to promote that these are values that women should uphold because it creates a very strange socialistic structure where, you know, women are looked at as almost like, oh, it's just another sex model, and which we tried to get away from with this whole feminist approach. And it seems like we're kind of, you know, flip reversing the roles again. And also, it's not a good idea to show this sort of thing and promote it to younger audiences, because the next generation is going to grow up with this, and it's going to be, my mom was an OnlyFans model.
Exactly.
And
do you think that's a problem?
I think it is a problem in a general aspect, because it's definitely something that we should look at more seriously and take more seriously, that the youth of this next generation is going to see that, and that is exactly how their mind is going to be changed and altered, and it should be something that should be, I think, more restricted. And
Or even maybe forbidden. You think society would be better if we wouldn't have any OnlyFans?
I'm not really sure. I mean, I think, like I say, it's a hard question to answer, because I think everyone has the right to do what they want, and it's their body, and they should be able to choose. But I guess from my personal experience, I would say it is a negative thing overall, and I wouldn't personally promote it. So, yeah, that's definitely something I'd say.
What do you think? Is there like a body count limit that you should have as a woman, or maybe at what age you are? So, for example, like when a woman has a body count of 20 when she's 20 years old, do you think that's too high?
I think it's a very unique situation to be in, because it depends on what you count as a body count. For example, with the people go through traumatic experiences, which then they don't want to count. And obviously then they have to explain they have had sex before, but it's not that they were consensual at all. So it's a very person-to-person experience. However, if we're talking overall, I would probably say having too many people that you've slept with, I wouldn't gloat about that. I wouldn't boast about it. It's not really a competition. However,
Oh, fuck you all.
yeah. However, I think that that threw me off for a second. But I definitely think that it's probably better to be on the lower end of it, just because it probably makes people feel a little more comfortable that they're not going to be used. It's not just for a sexual reason. And if it is, that's totally fine. Some people might be okay with that. But I think overall, it's probably better to feel more comfortable with a lower body count when you've asked someone.
You think it's the same for men and women? So, for example, like when a man has a 50 body count and a woman has a 50 body count?
Again, I think it's a really difficult question because of the way that society has built that up. It's more okay that men have a higher body count, but when a woman does, we're sort of entering this new territory where it's like, I don't know, she's had a higher body count, and then yet they will cheer their friends and be like, you know, you slept with this girl, well done, you know. So I think that it's definitely something that maybe society needs to look at a bit different, that it should be a fair, you know, reasoning for both. That if a man is cheered for it, a woman can be too. But out of my personal, you know, opinion, I don't think that anyone should be cheering for a body count. I think it's something that you should keep it a little more private and definitely keep it to yourself. I wouldn't boast about it, you know. So
It's a very mature answer. You think? Last question. You think a man should? Would you ask your man? First of all, would you ask your man for his body count? You think maybe I just don't want to know. I don't ask.
I think I probably wouldn't want to know, but the curiosity definitely does. I think get to women. It's more like a how many people has he seen?
Do you think when a man has a body count over 100 and you're in a relationship with him, and you then ask him maybe after half a year of a relationship, you think you should tell the truth or maybe just better lie?
Yeah, I think personally I would be like, it's in the back of my head, but I'm not gonna ask. I'll just keep it in my head. But yeah, definitely.